Have you ever looked for a quick and easy way to stylize and decorate a Cyrillic font? If your answer is yes, then you're in the right place. Hi there everyone, my name is Andrei Marius, and in this Envaro Task Plus tutorial, I will show you how to create this Russian-inspired text effect in Adobe Illustrator. For this tutorial, you will need this Maxwell font from Envaro Elements. It is a font that comes with the Cyrillic alphabet, so make sure to check out Envaro Elements, where with a simple subscription you can get unlimited access to millions of creative digital assets such as graphics, photos, fonts, and many more. You can subscribe right now with the link in the description and maybe try different Cyrillic fonts for your final design. Let's open Illustrator to create a new document. Select pixels from this drop-down menu, set the width to 850 and the height to 600, set the color mode to RGB and the resolution to 72 pixels per inch, then click this button to create your new document. You can press Ctrl and 0 to fit the artboard on your entire screen. Go to View in the menu bar and make sure that the Smart Guides are enabled. And before we start the work on the design, let's open all these panels that will be used throughout your tutorial. Go to Window in the menu bar and open the Appearance panel, the Brushes panel, the Color panel, the Info panel, the Layers panel, and the Swatches panel. Once you're done, you can start your design by selecting the Type tool from your toolbar and focus on the Character panel. Select the Maxwell font, increase the size to 200, and click on your artboard to type in Russia using the Cyrillic alphabet. Let's select just this character and increase the tracking to 120, which will adjust the spacing between these two characters. Switch to the Move tool and then go to Type and create outlines, which will turn your text into vector shapes. Now move to the Control panel and make sure that the alignment is set to artboard, and then click these two buttons to easily move your text in the center of the artboard. Press Shift Ctrl and G to ungroup your group of letter shapes. Select just this letter and press Ctrl plus a few times to zoom in on it. To stylize this shape, let's move to the Appearance panel. Start by selecting the fill and change the color to 248, 222 and 15. Select the stroke and change the color to 231, 1 and 25. And then add a second stroke using this button. Move this new stroke below the fill. Select it and change the color to 244, 1 and 15. And then go to Effect, Path and Offset Path. Set the offset to 4.5. Click OK to apply the effect, and then return to the Appearance panel to add a new stroke using this button. Drag this new stroke in the bottom of the panel. Select it and increase the stroke size to 10. Change the color to 242, 242 and again 242. And then return to the Appearance panel to add one more stroke using this same button. Again, drag this new stroke in the bottom of the panel, select it and change the color to 187, 0 and 0. And then go to Effect, Distort and Transform. First of all, enter 10 in this Copies box. Adjust your move sliders to 0.3 and 0.4. And then click OK to apply the effect. Continue and go to Effect, Stylize and Drop Shadow. Let's move this panel aside so you can notice the changes as we make them. Keep the blend mode set to multiply, but lower the opacity to 35%. Set both offset values to 1. Lower the blur to 0. Make sure that the color is set to black. And then click OK to apply your effect. Let's go again to Effect and Stylize Drop Shadow to apply a second drop shadow effect. This time lower the opacity to 15%. Adjust both offset values to 2 pixels. Keep the blur set to 0 and the color to black. And then click again OK to apply the second drop shadow effect. Go one more time to Effect, Stylize and Drop Shadow. Just lower the opacity to 5%. Click OK to apply the effect and select the rectangle tool from your toolbar. Simply click on your artboard to open this window where you can easily set the size for the shape that you wish to create. Set both the width and height to 50 pixels and then click OK to create your 50 pixel square. Remove the fill color applied for this shape. Select the stroke, lower the size to 6 and change the color to black. And then switch to the Move tool, press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to add a copy of this square in front of it. You need to scale this copy, so let's move to the control panel where this can be easily done. Make sure that this constraint button is checked and lower the size to 20 pixels. Now select both these shapes to rotate them 45 degrees and then simply drag them inside the swatches panel to save them as a pattern. Once you can see your pattern inside the swatches panel, you can delete these shapes. Reselect your letter shape, select the fill from the appearance panel and go to Effect, Stylize and Inner Glow. Change the blend mode to normal, set the color to 249, 95 and 18. Keep the opacity set to 75%. Lower the blur to 4 pixels, click OK to apply the effect, and then add a second fill using this button. Apply your pattern on this new fill, change the blending mode to overlay, and then go to Effect, Distort and Transform to scale this applied pattern. First of all, disable the Transform Objects box and make sure that the Transform Patterns box is checked, which means that the effect will only affect the pattern applied for this fill. Focus on the scale settings and lower both sliders to 15%, and then click OK to apply this effect and scale your pattern. Now press Ctrl and 0 to zoom back on your entire artboard, and let's focus on the layers panel. Hold down the Alt key and just click and drag these target icons to easily apply the same appearance settings for the rest of your letter shapes. When you are done, reselect the rectangle tool from your toolbar, click on your artboard and create a 141.5 pixel square. Press Ctrl and plus a few times to zoom in on this new shape. Select the stroke and remove the color. Select the fill and change the color to 243, 249 and 24, and then press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to add a copy of this shape in front. Change the color of this new shape to white and then scale it to 117.5. Click again on your artboard to create a 17.5 pixel square. Change the color of this new shape to 187, 0 and 0. Switch to the Move tool and use it to drag this shape in the top left corner of your white square. Now hold down the Alt key to drag a copy of this shape. Keep in mind that also holding down the Shift key will constrain the movement of your copy. Let's drag this copy in the top right corner and then hold down the Shift key to select this shape along with this one and drag copies to the bottom of your white square. When you are done, reselect the rectangle tool, click again on your artboard and create a 67 by 17.5 pixel shape. Change the color of this new shape to 213, 0 and 0. Switch to the Move tool to move this shape in this exact location. Drag a copy in the bottom of the white square and then select both shapes. Press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to add copies in front and rotate them 90 degrees. Select this white shape and delete it, and then select all your red shapes. To rotate them 45 degrees like this, press the minus key to activate the Delete Anchor Point tool, and use it to remove this point, this one, and this one. When you are done, you can reselect the Move tool to reselect all these shapes and drag them inside the Brushes panel to save them as a pattern brush. You can name your brush Crisscross Pattern Brush. Lower the scale to 4%, keep the rest of the settings as they come, and then click OK to save your pattern brush. Now that you can see your pattern brush inside the Brushes panel, feel free to delete all these shapes. Let's press Ctrl and 0 to zoom back on your entire design. And we'll use this brush to decorate only the letters that have straight ends with 90 degrees angles. Select the zoom tool from your toolbar and zoom in on such an area. Grab the pen tool or the line tool from your toolbar and use it to create a horizontal path. Keep in mind that holding down the Shift key makes it really easy to create a perfect horizontal line. Apply your pattern brush for this line and then add a second stroke. Keep it selected and change the color of this stroke to 231, 1 and 25, and then go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and Transform. Just move this slider to -3 pixels, which will move your stroke 3 pixels up. Click OK to apply the effect, and now you should use the Direct Selection tool to further edit the path, roughly like this. Press Ctrl and 0 to zoom back on your entire artboard, and using the same technique you can continue to decorate the rest of your letter shapes until you end up with something that's somewhat similar with this. All you need to keep in mind is that when you are using this technique for the top side of a letter shape, you need to set the setting of this transform effect to 3 pixels instead of -3 pixels. Let's continue and create the second pattern brush that will be used to decorate this text. Select the rectangle tool from your toolbar and use it to create a 50 pixel square. Press Ctrl and plus to zoom in on this new shape. Press Shift and X to easily swap the fill and stroke color settings. Change the fill color to 187, 0 and again 0. And then click again on your artboard, this time to create a 3 by 6 pixel rectangle. Change the color of this new shape to 35, 35 and again 35. And then press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to add that copy in front. Rotate the copy 90 degrees and then use the Move tool to select all these shapes. Click the red shape to highlight it, which means that these two shapes will align according with this red one. And then click these two buttons to easily move your black shapes in the center of this red square. Reselect the rectangle tool to create a 12 by 8.5 pixel shape. Change the color of this new shape to 243, 249 and 24. Use the Move tool to move this new shape in this exact location. And then switch to the Direct Selection tool to select these 2 points and hold down the Shift key as you drag them to the right like this. Reselect the Move tool so you can drag a copy of this yellow shape in this exact location. Use the Reflect tool to flip this copy like this. And then reselect the Move tool so you can drag copies of these 2 yellow shapes in this exact location. And again use the Reflect tool to flip them like this. Finally, reselect the Move tool, select all your yellow shapes, press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to add copies in front, and rotate the copies 90 degrees, exactly like this. Now that the design of your second pattern brush is complete, all you have to do is select all these shapes, rotate them 45 degrees, and then click this button to save them as a new pattern brush. You can name it Geometric Flower Pattern Brush. lower the scale to 15%, keep the rest of the settings as they come, and once you can see your new brush inside the brushes panel, you can delete all these shapes. Press Ctrl 0 to zoom back on your entire text effect, select just this letter shape and zoom in on it, and then reselect the line tool from your toolbar. Hold down the Shift key to easily create a vertical path that's somewhat similar with this one. Apply your new pattern brush, and then you can continue and use the same technique to decorate the rest of your letters until you end up with something that's somewhat similar with this. Once you are done, your design will be complete. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember to hit that like button as it helps me know that I did a good job. Subscribe if you aren't already, and don't forget to click the little bell icon to be notified of any new tutorials. If you are looking to learn even more, you can always check out some of the many tutorials that Envato Plus has to offer. I'm Andrei Marius, and I'll see you in the next video.